have been consecutively in the charts for 32 years.
Which is, in fact, 6 years older than our very own Rylan, who we sent to interview this rock and roll icon.
Legend is an overused word in showbiz, but no one deserves that title more than Sir Paul McCartney, a rock and roll icon for over half a century.
I can't believe I'm sitting here talking to Sir Paul McCartney.
Coming up, Paul and I talk alien invasion.
An alien.
It's all over.
I didn't see him coming.
What to get an ex-Beatle for Christmas.
You got a belly button brush?
Belly button brush. I'm not sure I'd like that.
And why you won't see me and Sir Paul on holiday anytime soon.
Could I have joined the party?
No.
Charming. But first, let's get futuristic with Sir Paul's latest single, Hope for the Future, which was originally written for the Destiny video game.
You've had some absolute classics over the years, but now you've gone down a different route and you've written a song for a video game.
Yeah.
Was it always in your destiny?
Ooh.
Oh, way up!
Yeah, it was good. I got a phone call from a guy who said, "Do you want to help me write the music for a video game?" And it was very intriguing, you know, what happened. Because if you're going to go down one avenue, you've got to have do-do-do-do. But if you go around the other and get killed, you go do-do-do. So there's like millions of bits of music you've got to write. So luckily he said he would do all that. And then I did the song. And it's a different crowd of people listening to my music than normally, you know. So I was intrigued by that.
Obviously, you have grandchildren. Do you play computer games with them?
Well, I mean, you know, I have a go at them.
Do you think that makes you a cool granddad, or is it the fact that you were a Beatle?
I think it's probably more to do with the fact of the Beatles. But the kids are so good at them. In Destiny, I get into the first room and get mashed.
That's
There's
it.
an alien.
It's all over.
I didn't see him coming.
Talking of the game, Sir Paul, you're now an action figure.
I know.
And people at home can actually download the template and print this off on a 3D printer.
Can you believe that?
To any size you want. I could potentially have a 90-foot Sir Paul McCartney in my garden.
Is that something you'd want?
It's something I wouldn't not want, put it that way.
Ooh.
I've got a lot worse at my house. I am actually robbing this. They don't know.
Okay, you can have it.
So I'm just going to hang.
You can have that. That's yours.
I'll keep that one there.
Stick it between your legs.
I know. It won't be the first time, Sir Paul.
Oh.
It really won't.
And if you don't have room for a 90-foot Paul McCartney statue, you could always catch him in concert, like on his recent world tour.
How do you manage to pick the songs that you're going to sing? Because you're going to upset someone. You've got like 1,000,001 songs.
Well, I'll tell you exactly what I do. I sit down and I think, if I was going to a show, what would I want to hear? Because, you know, people pay a lot of money to come to a show.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, if ever I went to a show and they didn't play the songs I wanted to hear, I hated it.
You just get the right hump.
Yeah, right hump is exactly what I got.
And listen, with all that touring, you must be absolutely knackered. So you deserve a nice holiday. And I recently heard that you had a lovely holiday and you bumped into Keith Richards. Had a lovely time.
In Jamaica.
In Jamaica, as you do, casual. But, I mean, I don't know Keith, he's not a close friend. But surely being on holiday with Keith Richards, you need another 2-week holiday afterwards to recover.
No, he's a good boy. You know, we had a great time. The thing was, for me, I'd run into him over 40 years of the Beatles and the Stones and say, "All right, mate, how you doing? I love your record."
Let's go on holiday in Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, he was on holiday already.
So you crashed his holiday?
I found him. Somebody said, "Keith Richards up the beach." I said, "Right."
I'm going right up there.
I'm going up there. Clambered over the rocks. Hey, Keith.
I would love to have been like just casually sat on the beach, like, oh look, it's the Paul McCartney and Keith Richards. Could I have joined the party?
No. No, you need 40 years experience of rock and roll.
I've got 8 weeks of live shows on X Factor.
It's nearly the same.
Nearly the same.
So close.
Very fine line. Very fine line.
With the classic Christmas singles Mull of Kintyre and Wonderful Christmas Time, I'm regularly letting my hair down to his songs, a little bit like today. But I want to know, what gets Paul feeling festive?
What do you do at Christmas?
It's all about family. It's all about seeing the kids doing what people do at Christmas, which is just watch the telly, have the kids climbing all over me.
And
that,
just lay there.
To me, that is perfection.
So let's talk presents. So what would I buy you for Christmas? The man that's got everything.
Pair of black socks.
Do you know what? You cannot go wrong with a pair of black socks.
Can't go wrong.
I once actually got bought a belly button brush. A belly button. Have you got a belly button brush?
Belly button brush.
Yeah, just...
No, that's it. I don't think, I'm not sure I'd like that.
You say goodbye and I say hello.
OK, so say goodbye to belly button brushes and say hello to James, Paul's son, who recently appeared on a new album, The Art of McCartney, where legendary artists perform their favourite McCartney tracks.
What a proud moment for you. With The Art of McCartney, you saw James singing with The Cure. How proud did you feel?
Very cool. It's lovely, you know, 'cause he said to me, you know, he was going to go into music, and it was a bit sort of, are you sure about that? You know, because it's a difficult role to play when your dad's famous. But he's really good, he's really talented, and there he was there singing with one of his favourite bands, you know.
What a proud moment that
So
must have
cool,
been.
yeah.
And I also recently heard that you actually jumped up on stage at another gig of his. Now, your dad crashing the stage, Paul, come on.
No, this dad's okay.
This is what I was going to say. Is it all right? 'Cause it's
some dads crashing the stage, no. Me, half crashing, just standing in the back playing a bit of piano.
And didn't you take Ronnie Wood up as well?
Ronnie was already there.
Well, he would be, wouldn't he? But while a Rolling Stone gathers no moss, Paul's daughter, fashion designer Stella, has gathered a Kate Moss and other models.
Let's talk about your daughter, Stella. I'm a massive fan of Stella. I love her work. Does she ever walk in and go, Dad, nah, not having none of this?
No, she doesn't. She's used to me dressing badly, but she does compliment me if I've got something she likes. You know, she's very fashionable. What's this? Who's this by? Come on. Oh, she's looking at the label.
You've got good style.
Well, I don't know about that.
Also, Paul, listen, as you know, I was on the X Factor before. I had a lovely time. We are days away from Ryland Mania. I need some words of wisdom. How do I deal with all this admiration that people are just going to throw at me?
I think just keep calm.
Yeah,
Just keep calm. Take it all in.
Right.
Good. Breathe. See, this is looking better already.
Let me
Get your little pole figure from between your legs.
Okay, he's out, he's
Put
out.
it there. Don't open your mouth. Don't talk. That's it. That's the way to deal with it. No. No talking. Oh, go on then.
Oh, I can't do it, Paul. I really can't. So, Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you today. Good luck with the single. Thanks for everything.
Lovely talking to you.
That was really good.
That was really funny.
Well done,
Oh,
Ryland.
bless Ryland.
Terrific. And at this moment, can I stop the network just to say happy birthday to my mother-in-law?
Oh, good points, brownie points.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you agree all my guests are splendid this evening, but I've been so excited about getting my final one out. He was the bass with the Beatles, he was the wind beneath wings, now he's enjoying a solo career that's seeing him conquer the world all over again. On his latest tour, listen to this, he played 63 shows to over 2 million people. It is Sir Paul McCartney.
Good throw.
Sir Paul. Hello, Paul, how you doing?
I'm great, thanks.
So you just got back from Brazil, I think?
Yeah.
Is that right? And you've just got back? You've only just got back a few days ago?
Yeah, a few days ago, yeah.
OK, how was that? How was Brazil for you? It looks incredible.
It was amazing, yeah. They're all so young, the audience, you know, as you see there. They're 20-something babes, most of them.
Wow.
Which is a bit embarrassing.
When you look back, do you remember what it was like to not be famous? Is there a period you look back, and do you look back on that with fondness, or is
Yeah, I do look back on it with fondness, because, you know, it's your childhood and it's all that. I mean, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because you couldn't get in things that I can get in now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so there was that. But, yeah, I do look back on it with fondness, because, you know, I can say, oh, that was pre-Beatle. And to think of us guys trying to invent the Beatles and trying to think of how to write songs and all of that, you know, once you look at the career and the success of the Beatles, it's pretty cute to imagine these guys writing this stuff, you know, not knowing how to do it.
You said something interesting there. You said these guys trying to invent the Beatles. Were you deliberately thinking, OK, we've got to do something new? Because I always got the feeling, having read and studied and really been obsessed with the Beatles for many years, that you were, you know, you were very excited by Buddy Holly, by Chuck Berry. You wanted to play that kind of music, and you learned that music, and initially in Germany you played that music. Were you deliberately trying to distance yourself from that or create something new, or were you just trying to do your own version of that?
No, you know what happened? We used to do covers all the time, as you say, and most of our act was covers, and we learned millions of them in Germany. But we come back, and we're singing these kind of Little Richard, Chuck Berry songs in clubs, and there'd be other bands on the bill, and we'd be sitting in the dressing room, and we hear them do Long Tall Sally, and go, oh, we're going to do that. Yeah. And then we'd hear them do a Chuck Berry thing, and we'd hear them basically do our act. Yeah. So we had to come up with a trick as to defeat this. So John and I started writing. Wow. And that's how we started writing.
So
there was no great muse. It was just to beat these people who knew our act.
I'm a huge Wings fan as well, and I'm a huge fan of your solo work, and your new album is tremendous. Well, there's one track on it that I was just... And it's very much you, it seems very much you talking about that period. It's a track called Early Days, and I'll read you a couple of lines if you don't mind. You said, dressed in black from head to toe, 2 guitars across our backs, we would walk the city roads, seeking someone who listened to the music that we were writing down at home. You know, it's very much, the whole thing seems to be you processing or coming to terms or just remembering fondly that period. And you haven't really done that so much before, have you?
No, you know, I just got this idea to put it into a song, because I often think about that. You know, like I say, I often just... That is exactly what would happen. Me and John, dressed in black, guitars across our backs, writing letters to people. Dear sir, we are a semi-pro rock combo, and, you know, please listen to us. So I actually just wrote down what had happened, you know. And they are fond memories. Because, you know, then the Beatles happened and it all got sort of to be a phenomenon and everything. But then it wasn't. It was just 2 guys wandering along trying to work it out, you know.
But I love to hear that they are fond memories for you, because I know there was some acrimony in the band later on, and there were moments, and for us as fans to know that you have those memories of your time with John and George and Ringo, you know, that means a lot, and you must be aware of it.
It's very important to me, too, because of that acrimony. That was business. You know, we got to a point where we really got kind of crappy over business. Won't go into that, but it did. So to me, that rubbed off on me. And for years I thought, oh, yeah, you know, me and John, bitter rivals and all this stuff. I was very lucky. Before he got killed, we were mates. And we were ringing each other and we were talking about, I don't know, he used to make bread. So we'd talk about, what's your recipe, man? You know, whatever, you know. So it got very normal again. And I say, you know, he'd had Sean. So he had a baby. And I was bringing up babies, so we could talk about that and all this stuff, you know. You could talk about normal stuff.
Yeah.
So it got very nice, and I said, you know, to this day, I'm so glad. Because it would have been the worst thing in the world to have had this great relationship and then soured, and he gets killed.
Yeah.
I mean, so there was some solace in the fact that... we got back together and we were good friends.
I remember reading that you almost did get back together and play together again.
There was talk about it, yeah, and people were offering fantastic sums like they're doing for Zeppelin now, you know, to do it. But, and we'd talk about it, but it would always be, nah, you know, we've done it. We kind of knew we'd come full circle and we thought, it's going to spoil it.
So that was never on the cards then?
Not really, no.
It's one of the things I most admire about the Beatles. I mean, you know, I unashamedly love the Beatles, but it's one of the things I most admire. Again, especially in our culture now, where we can't leave anything alone. Yeah. Well, we've got to bring everything back and let's do it one last time. And it's the 5th anniversary, it's the 25th anniversary. You know, no one can leave anything alone. One of the main examples I always cite for things being finite, and one of the best examples of it is the Beatles were making records for like 7 years. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was a very, very short
That's what's
time.
so weird.
Yeah,
That's what's so weird. Yeah. Can I ask you one more question before we move on from this? 'Cause just that moment when John was murdered, when did you hear it? Who told you? When did you hear that had happened?
I was at home and I got a phone call. It was early in the morning. I was in the country and I just got a phone call. And it was like... I think it was like that for everyone. It was just so horrific. You couldn't take it in, and I couldn't take it in. And I just, you know, just for days, you just couldn't think that he was gone, you know. So, yeah, it was just a huge shock, and then I had to tell Linda and the kids, and, you know, and Yeah, it was very difficult. Yeah. I mean, it was very difficult for everyone. That was like a really big shock, I think, in most people's lives. It's a bit like Kennedy. Yeah. There were certain moments like that.
The thing was, because it was a shock for us, but we didn't know him.
Yeah, no, for me it was just so sad that, you know, I wasn't going to see him again and we weren't going to hang up. And, you know, for me, the biggest thing was that the guy who took his life, the phrase kept coming in my head, jerk of all jerks. It was just like, this is just a jerk. This is not even a guy politically motivated. It's just some total random thing. I go, hey, Pop.
Just to damage the broken person.
You know, yeah. So, yeah.
You know, you mentioned early on that you have young fans out there in Brazil and all over the world, of course. It's very interesting what you've done now, I think, from that perspective. There's a new McCartney song called Hope for the Future, which is a beautiful song, but you're releasing it in a very unusual and very different kind of way, aren't you?
Yeah, well, I was asked to do it for a video game. And I didn't know what was involved, so I went to meet the people, and they were doing this new video game called Destiny, which I believe you played.
I play Destiny. I play video games. I like it.
Right.
I play Titanfall and Destiny on my Xbox, yes.
Oh. So, yeah, they asked me to... You know, well, not all of us play video games.
You want to wise up?
Yeah.
I'll get you one for Christmas, all right?
Yeah.
I'll get you a console. But, so they asked you to do a song for this, and you're not someone I would have down as a big gamer.
No, I'm not a gamer, no. I watch the kids doing it. You know, I got grandkids who are, like, really seriously good at all that. So I basically watch them, and they'll give me a go reluctantly, and I'll just get killed, and then I'll hand back.
Yeah. But of course there was the Rock Band, and those, I'm sure you know the game Rock Band, where you could play instruments along with the screen. You weren't playing the proper instrument, you were playing a sort of a game.
Little buttons coming towards you, yeah.
And then it was exciting when the Beatles edition came out. Did you ever get to play the Beatles Rock Band?
I did, and got mashed. But I said I was with one of my grandkids who was doing great, and he's playing away, he's doing this, he's winning. And I said, yeah, but I play a real bass, and I wrote it.
Did you ever play the drums version? The game? I tried playing that, and I actually had newfound respect for Ringo, because, man, he must have known what he was doing after all. Let's have a look. This is the song, Hope for the Future. This is out Monday. Look at this. And this is a very unique video. I'll ask you how you made this afterwards. Look at this.
Hope for the future, it's coming soon enough. How much can we achieve? Hope for the future, it will belong to us if we believe, Hope shines brightest in the dark when nothing's ever seen. Lighting undiscovered places no one's ever been.
Great single. That's out next week, isn't it?
Yeah, Monday, yeah.
Okay. Hey, but you know what excited me as well is Hope for the Future. You went back to Abbey Road to record that.
Yeah.
Didn't you? Now, that must be quite an experience for you to go back. The memory's there.
Yeah, for me, it is a nostalgia trip. I remember the very first day we walked in as 4 20-something boys, and we came in the tradesman's entrance because we weren't allowed to come through the control room. That was for the grown-ups. So we would just, you know, come in and like, wow, studio. George had a black eye because he got smacked by some guy at the Cavern the week before. So, yeah, whenever I go in there, all of that comes flooding back.
When you go to Abbey Road, the thing, I drive past Abbey Road quite a lot, because I live in North London, I live nearby, and often you'll go and there's the famous zebra crossing, where the photograph was taken of you, or not you, because you were dead, obviously, but the version of the person was meant to you. But that photograph taken there, and now, of course, that's become a point of pilgrimage. There's always, if it's daylight, there are tourists there, and there are people, and it drives you mad. I curse your name once a week.
What do you think I feel like? When I'm stuck there,
Have you ever been at the zebra?
Yeah, pull the visor down. Yeah, well, I mean, tell you this, the truth. And I've always wanted to recreate it, and I do often think, you know, you see some Japanese fans, I think, I'll just hop out. Just go in there.
You have to do that once.
I've got to do it one day. But this Halloween, we'd been to a Halloween party at my daughter Mary's, and I had this amazing werewolf mask. So I'm going home, and I've still got this big mask on, and we go to the crossing. So I just say, oh, we've got to do it, got to do it. And it's like, you know, it's 11 at night, and so I stop, and Nancy, my wife, I said, come on, we've got to do it. So she gets her phone, and we're holding up the traffic, but I'm there, the werewolf thing, and this guy looking very annoyed.
Yeah, that was me. That was me. I was like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? I've got to get home. I've got a party. You know what? It's a thrill for me to have you here on the show, and I thank you. And I've so enjoyed having you all on. But Paul, to have you back here is such a joy. So thank you so much for coming on.
John. Thank
Join
you
me in
very
saying
much.
thank you, will you, to Sir Paul McCartney, but also of course Martin Freeman, and Jeremy Clarkson, ladies and gentlemen. Next week here on the show, I will be joined by Mr. James Corden will be here, Boris Johnson will be here, Tulisa will be here, Keith Lemon and John Hamm. We also have music from Paloma Faith, so how we'll fit all that in, I don't know. But now, with yours, she's just got a most spectacular voice, ladies and gentlemen. I think you're going to love this song. It's beautiful. Here she is. It's Ella Henderson.